Very much, Paul, and welcome everybody for our evening today. It's once again a pleasure to spend this time with you. I hope that the month of July has gone well. And as always, we have started a new month in which we set new goals and we work towards them. And as you might have seen in your invites, my session today is about respiratory health. It is always a great pleasure to share this information so that we can know how to recommend our products and how to be targeted in how we make suggestions to the people who ask us what we can do to help, and for our own selves when we want to see how to more accurately maybe target how we supplement. So today I wanted to talk about this system of breathing, the respiratory system, which is a system which ensures that we get the air that we need into our lungs and our body and expel the byproducts of our metabolism. So as of course you well know, the main organs of the respiratory system are the lungs, and we have two of them on either side of our chest. But the lungs don't operate in isolation. We have got from our nostrils through which the air comes in, we have got air passages. We also have got muscles that do the work of breathing in and out. We have the muscles around our ribs, and we also have a sheet of muscle at the base of our chests. And all these work together with the lungs to pull in and push out air. So another system that plays an important role in our breathing system is the blood circulatory system, because once we have breathed in the air, we need to circulate it to all the cells in our bodies, and that air, the oxygen, is going to be carried in the blood, and the carbon dioxide, which is a byproduct of our metabolism, is also going to be carried in the blood and taken back to the lungs where it can be breathed out. So the circulatory system and the breathing system work together to ensure that we are supplied with oxygen, which helps us to burn our energy, burn our food substrate to convert it into energy for our bodies to use. So that is what the system we are dealing with today. And I wanted to start with one important aspect of this system is the quality of air that we get. So whether the air is of good quality or not. Of course, this is not always up to us because it depends on the environment in which we find ourselves, whether it's where we work or where we live or in our transport system, all these places where we can find ourselves. We are not always in charge of the quality of air that we find ourselves in. But what we need to know is what can maybe interfere with the good quality air which we need. And one of the things is the air pollution. We know that our air can be polluted either by smoke from different sources and also by factory emissions, especially if we live in a city or near a factory. We find that there will be gases coming out of the furnaces or chimneys of the factory, which might get into the air and pollute the air, reducing the quality of the air that we have. We can also have dusts as another source of reduction in air quality. This could be because maybe we live near a busy road which is not paved, and when cars drive back and forth or other kinds of vehicles, motorbikes, bicycles, we may find that they're raising dust, and this dust can also be in the air and affect the quality of our air. Another thing that can affect, reduce the quality of our air is poor ventilation in our homes or in our work premises. And this could be because maybe we are in the habit of not opening the windows when we need to, or because of security, it might not be possible for us to have our windows open, let's say during the night. When we are in the house, we might not be comfortable leaving the windows open, and that might mean that we don't get air circulation adequately inside the house when we are sleeping. or something like that. Then another source of trouble is pollen and mold spores. So pollen from flowering plants that might be around us. During certain seasons when there are lots of plants flowering, like here it will be in the months of September, October, when it's springtime and flowers start opening up and releasing pollen into the air. This pollen is can be from flowering plants, but you also have molds that also produce spores, which also fly about in the air. And the problem with these is that they can contribute to allergies. Some people are quite allergic to different kinds of pollen. And so when there is a large amount of pollen in the air, it can cause the quality of our air to be problematic. And then, of course, another source of trouble is when we use certain home care goods, which are maybe produce toxic fumes or are not quite as good as they should be. And this is where we always recommend to people and to ourselves, obviously, that we use our home care range whose quality we know and whose toxicity we know is completely absent. So we know that when we use our Neolife home care products, our homes are not going to be toxified by these products when we use them to keep our home clean and well maintained. So those are some of the points about how the quality of our air supply can be reduced from these different sources. Of course, there are other sources, but I think those ones give us an idea of where the source of trouble can come from. But apart from the quality of air, another thing that affects our breathing system is the way in which we breathe. So first we are talking about the quality of the air that we are taking in, but there's also the way in which we breathe. And this can also be a problem in that there are certain things that can make our breathing less efficient. So I'll give some examples here. We tend to breathe shallowly. It can be a habit that we develop and then it becomes just the way we always do it. So for instance, many of us don't breathe out completely to expel the majority of the air that needs to come out of our lungs. And this could be because of a habit or because of the way we position ourselves when we are sitting and so on. So we can actively try to think about how we breathe out. Do we breathe out completely until we feel that the breath is out of us? Or do we breathe just at the upper parts of our lungs? This means that the volume of air that is circulating is reduced because we are not breathing out totally. Of course, the same also is breathing in. We need to breathe in deeply and slowly. And some of you maybe who have been to some of these coaches who help us to control our temper or to deal with stress, you may have experienced some of these techniques for breathing where you are instructed on how to breathe deeply and also slowly by counting. So both breathing in and breathing out should be done deliberately a bit, at least some of the time. Of course, we can't always be thinking about how we are breathing, but we should, with time, work into the consciousness of how well we are breathing in and how well we are breathing out, so that we have the full capacity of our lungs when we are breathing out and the full capacity when we are breathing in. That ensures that we are actually getting in as much as we should. It makes the supply of air and the expulsion of the byproducts of metabolism is efficient. So you can just take a moment to breathe out and breathe out and breathe out until you see actually how inefficiently we breathe out. And then you also try to breathe in and breathe in and breathe in and see how efficiently you breathe habitually. And if you see that the difference between how you normally breathe and how you breathe when you actually think about it and do it deliberately, if the difference is very large, then try to develop the habit of breathing more efficiently by breathing deeply in and breathing out as much air as you can. And from time to time, you can do this just to get into the habit of doing so. Another another way in which we need to improve our breathing is by keeping a good posture. If we sit in a slumped way, like for example, you can't see very well, but if I'm leaning over towards the screen like this, I may find that my chest is compressed, and that means that the volume that I can accommodate of my chest is reduced. And so when I breathe in, there isn't enough space for me for my lungs to fill up properly. So it is important not only for our breathing system, but also even for the health of our skeleton to keep good posture. That is, we should sit upright with our back straight and breathe in with our head held up so that we give enough space for air to go in, and also for breathing out. So good posture is important. Then drinking enough water. All our systems work in solution, and breathing is no different. The gases that we breathe out and the ones that we breathe in all happen in solution, and the solvent is water. So we should try to make a habit of being adequately hydrated by drinking enough clean water every day. The amount of water that is enough for different people differs. So for example, I drink a lot more water than Pascal, but both of us should drink as much as we need. And just to note that by the time you're feeling thirsty, it means you already are a bit on the dehydrated side. So get into the habit of drinking. It doesn't mean that you just drink a great deal of water mindlessly, but to be aware that we do need to drink. And if we are not in the habit of doing so, to develop that habit of drinking water. Some people do not like water and they want to drink other beverages, but water is actually the solvent of our systems. So we need to be in the habit of taking enough of it because it also plays an important role in our breathing and the efficiency with which we exchange the gases. Then another point here in improving our breathing is involving certain amounts of activity in our lifestyle. So we can take a brisk walk, or for those who like jogging or running, that is also helpful. This helps our lungs to get a bit of exercise because we breathe more deeply and more strongly when we are exercising, especially aerobic exercise. That is exercises like walking, swimming, cycling, and so on. These are good because they help to improve our breathing. And finally, also to resolve stress and stressors, because I'm sure most of us know that when we are stressed or anxious, our breathing can also become very shallow. And so we need to resolve those stresses and stressors. And also, if we know that we are undergoing stress, to from time to time take a few good deep breaths in and out so that we keep that air circulation going well. So stress can be another one that we need to resolve in order to improve our breathing. Then moving on, what are the things that can reduce the effectiveness of our respiratory system that is now within the system? So we've been talking from outside about the quality of the air, then the quality of our breathing itself. And now we look at what can be inside the system that can cause us some trouble. And the first I wanted to mention is inflammation of our air passages. Remember I said we have the lungs, but the lungs work in conjunction with the air passages, like the one in our neck, coming from our nose through our neck and heading for the lungs. And inside the lungs, there are also a lot of tubes or pipes that infiltrate the whole lung tissue. And sometimes, for different reasons, they can become inflamed and swollen. For example, if you've got allergies, or if the allergies lead to asthma, if you've got emphysema as a result of smoking, and so on. This causes the air passages to actually become inflamed, and this can be why you may have difficulty in breathing well. And we'll talk about the supplements that we can use to assist with this. Then the other thing that can reduce the effectiveness of our respiratory system is cigarette smoking, whether it is that we personally smoke or we spend significant amounts of time in areas where other people smoke, because then we would get secondhand smoking. So let us say we work or live with someone who smokes and the room is not well ventilated or the car is not well ventilated, then we can also have suffer detriment from what is called secondhand smoking, which means you yourself are not smoking, but you are in close proximity for extended periods with someone who does smoke, where the ventilation is not good. And you'll have noticed, for those maybe who have traveled by air, that these days there are very strict rules about breathing, about smoking in the airplanes or in the airports and such enclosed places. Then after that, we also have being overweight. So overweight tends to lead to bad posture, so that we tend to slump. And this can also contribute to our not breathing to our full lung capacity. So this is one more reason. We are always coming up with more and more reason why we should do our best to maintain a healthy weight, because this is another area where being overweight can interfere with our breathing. And this can be especially exacerbated when we are sleeping at night. Some people have got a condition that is called sleep apnea, in which during sleep they can actually stop breathing. Either they snore or they stop breathing periodically during sleep. And this is associated with obesity as well as these inflammations of the air passages that I was talking about. So for this reason, it is important for us to always keep in mind the importance of trying to be conscious of maintaining our weights within a healthy range. Then there are also respiratory illnesses that can contribute to problems in our respiratory system. We have mentioned something like emphysema, asthma, certain allergies, and so on, which can interfere. We may have things like pneumonia and so on. All these can lead to problems with our respiratory system. Also, when we are in high altitude, maybe those who go hiking, this can also be a bit problematic, but this is located simply because we are in a place where the air is thin as a result of being on a high mountain and so on. Of course, this is mainly if you are for recreation, maybe climbing a mountain or flying in one of these open things like the balloons and so on, hot air balloons and so on. So those are the sources of some of the sources of problems with our respiratory system. And then now let me turn my attention to the Neolife products that can help us to maintain a healthy respiratory system. These supplements work hand in hand with our system to ensure that it is in good condition. And the first one, as you probably will have guessed, is omega-3 salmon oil. Working together with garlic allium, these ones help to resolve the inflammation in our air passages. Because remember, I said before that if our air passages are inflamed, they tend to swell and to be irritated, so that they produce a large amount of mucus, and we may be clogged up, or we may find that as we breathe, our noses are stuffy, or we struggle to take a deep breath. Maybe we have some coughing going on. So omega-3 salmon oil and garlic allium are good for fighting the inflammation. Of course, this will go hand in hand with avoiding unhealthy foods, which also can contribute to causing the inflammation itself. Then another supplement that we can recommend is vitamin A plus D, which helps us to ensure that we have enough vitamin D in our system. And this is because deficiency in vitamin D has been associated with being susceptible to respiratory diseases. So if maybe, as I said, for example, we have been, for the past 3 months or so, it has been quite cold. So we would tend to avoid going outside. Although I myself, I find it tends to be warmer outside than it is in the house, but it depends on where you are. So in the cold months, we might avoid going outside because it is too cold. And then this means that we don't get enough sunlight, which means we don't get enough vitamin D. And so during the cold months, it's good to supplement with vitamin A plus D. Although given that in many parts of our continent, we get very good sunlight, which means we could also spend time in the sun. But if we find that for one reason or another, this is not possible, maybe because of our work situation or because we are staying maybe in the southern parts or in the temperate northern lands, we don't get enough sun, then we should supplement with vitamin A plus D. Or if you have it in your market, we also have the plain vitamin D with which we can supplement. This is going to help us to fight against respiratory illnesses, such as the ones I've mentioned, or the ones that come periodically, like the seasonal flu and the colds, and of course also COVID is one of the supplements we recommend for COVID is vitamin D. Then the other ones is vitamin C and or flavonoid complex, which work with our body to maintain our air passages in a healthy condition. So vitamin C and the flavonoid complex. Flavonoid complex, as I think I've mentioned to you before, maybe if you are new, you'll not have heard me say this. Flavonoid complex also include a certain amount of vitamin C. So if you're taking flavonoid, you'll get some of that. We've got two kinds of vitamin C. We have the sustained release, and we have got the chewable one, which is a rapid release. We can use either of them. The sustained release is released slowly into our system, but the importance of vitamin C and flavonoid complex is that they help our air passages to heal. Maybe we have had a flu or we have allergies. They play an important role in maintaining the membranes of the air passages in good condition. Then the other one that I wanted to mention here, I think it might be the last one, is herbal respiratory complex. If you have it in your market, this is a herbal preparation that helps to keep our air passages clear and in good condition. So herbal respiratory complex, also very important. We recommend it for conditions like emphysema and asthma. They are quite, the herbal respiratory complex would be very helpful with that. Then for small children, the young children, we can recommend because young children also do tend to have quite a number of respiratory problems. Maybe when they've started school, they could be suffering from flu over and over again because they cross-infect each other and so on, or they might be asthmatic. So for them, we recommend VitaGuard and Chewable All-C, both of which are good for children before they have reached the age when they can swallow the supplements. These ones are good because they can be chewed and they are soluble and they taste nice for the children. So those are the supplements that I wanted to mention for our respiratory health. And then, of course, on the personal side, I think I've mentioned that we need to avoid some of these unhealthy foods because they contribute to inflammation and they can contribute to allergic reactions. So let us improve our diet by having plenty of vegetables in it, leafy vegetables and other vegetables, as well as fruits to give us some of the vitamins and so on. So remember, as I always say, the supplements are supposed to supplement the good habits that we ourselves are developing. We try to get good ventilation in the places where we are, and we try to ensure that we maintain a good, a healthy weight, and we try also to include movement so that our lungs are exercised. You see, the only way to exercise our lungs is by doing aerobic exercises. There is no way of exercising the lungs except by moving. So that way we strengthen our lungs and we improve our lung capacity. So I think that my time is running out, and so I shall maybe just answer one question here is one where, because I've mentioned asthma in a child, someone wanted to know about this. So here the first recommendation is that you identify what triggers the asthmatic attacks. If it could be related to what we were saying, pollen, or it could be certain pollutants or household chemicals. So it would be good to identify what triggers, because if it is possible, we can then avoid the triggers. And then on the supplement side, we can recommend for them VitaGuard. If they are able to, we can recommend they take omega-3 salmon oil because we've got the small capsule, and herbal respiratory complex to help them with asthma, but also to look at their diet. Sometimes asthma can be the result of allergy towards dairy products or towards something else that is in the diet. So apart from taking the supplements, it is good to try and isolate what is actually triggering the asthmatic attacks and getting rid of it if it is possible. All right, I want to thank you very much for this time and for your attention, and to wish you all the best in the beginning of this month of August. I know that our brothers and sisters in Kenya are going to be heading to the polls in a few days, I believe. And we want to wish you all the best, a peaceful and good election and your safety. And we look forward to continuing our work in Neolife and making the world a healthier and wealthier and happier place. Thank you very much. I want to hand you over to Pascal right now, who is standing by to take you in the next session. And so here we go. All the best for the rest of the month.
Thank you very much, Betsy. I think that, in fact, this is a very apt time to do training for new people, to give you some ideas on how to get new people started in the business. Now that we're starting a new month, I want to share some few ideas that will help you build your business. Because remember, this business, you can never be successful alone. You need a team to be able to be successful. But two other things that you need to have to become successful in the business: you need patience and you need consistency. That is, patience in teaching the people who started the business, and consistency in guiding those people. I remember when we started the business, we had Monday evening training every Monday at 7 o'clock. We would go for training. Every Wednesday, we would have a presentation. And it requires the sponsor of a new distributor to be very patient to teach the new distributor the ropes of building this business. So if you will pardon me, I want to share the screen with you. Slideshow from the current. Just a few things I would like to mention that will help you to give you a guidelines on how to help new people who start the business. When a distributor starts the business, what are the basic things you need to teach them? You know, people come from different backgrounds to join our business. Some come from the corporate world, some are doctors, some are engineers, some are salespeople, some are teachers, some are students. People come from so many different backgrounds to join our business. And they always bring the knowledge base and the experience and training from whatever background they have. So it's very important to let them know that, look, this business, traditional knowledge and skills of building business doesn't work here. You need a completely new set of skills to be able to succeed in this business, okay? And one of them is being open to learning. So what is, I prepared a checklist here of the things that you need to guide your new distributor on how to get started in the business. Because if you start your distributor well in the business, their chances of growth and success are increased. The first one is the kit launch, or to get the new distributor the basics of building the business. Step number one, show them the administrative issues about our business, how to order products, how to pay for the products and the kit, what are the different terms we use in the business, what is a distributor, a manager, senior manager, executive manager, director, emerald, ruby, wild team members, president, team members. They need to know all this. What is PV, what is BV? They need to have a good idea of the marketing plan, because the marketing plan is what determines how much they are going to earn given the different activities or the different performance standards they reach. So it's important for you to teach your new downline the different stages of building the business. What is required to be a manager? What is required to be a senior manager? What is required to be an executive manager? What is required to be a director? So it's very important to take your new distributor through the administrative issues of the business. Something else I want to suggest, when you're taking a new distributor through those things, you need to teach them to be able to order products themselves. Okay. Sometimes we think that if we do a lot for our downlines, they're going to be successful. No, you're actually going to cripple them because they don't develop the self drive to build the businesses themselves. And that leads me to one aspect. It's called expectations. When people join our business, because they see the business plan, they see how the business is structured, they hear really fantastic stories of how people have become successful in the business, and their expectations are really high on how they're going to succeed in the business. A number of issues I'd like to suggest. One is you need to validate the distributor for making the decision to join the business. Remember, they joined the business because they saw something in the business. Maybe they saw themselves becoming successful in the business. They saw somebody else becoming successful in the business. So you need to validate their decision to join the business. The next thing is you need to shift the responsibility for success or growth of their business to the new person, not the sponsor. The sponsor is only a guide, somebody who holds their hand. I mean, if you're a parent and you're training your child will start by crawling, they'll start by walking, then they'll run. But if you carry your child all the time, they will not develop the strength in their legs to walk and run. A similar principle happens in our business. You need to let your downline know, or the new distributor or success line, that the responsibility for success rests with them. You as a sponsor are a guide to hold their hand, to teach them what they need to do to become successful. Because when Neolife pays the check, it doesn't go to the sponsor's account. It goes to the distributor's account. Okay? So you need to emphasize to the distributor that they need to have responsibility for success in the business. The other thing you need to have is guidance. You need to guide your distributor. Guidance simply means you show them the way, but they have to walk the way. So guide your distributors on some of their experiences, what to do and what not to do, taking full responsibilities, attending training, learning from you as a leader on how to build a business. But something else I also would like to mention that is very important in the business, that you need to make your new distributor know that this business has ups and downs. This business has ups and downs, just like life has ups and downs. Any business has ups and downs. Any career has ups and downs. Any marriage has ups and downs. All this is part of life. So you need to let your new distributor know that they're going to have some ups and downs in the business. They are excited now. They probably earned their first check during the first 1 or 2 months, and they're excited about the business. They're going to get some people are going to tell them no, some people will laugh at them, some people will tell them, no, this thing doesn't work, this thing is a pyramid scheme. All those things are likely to happen. So you need to let them know that this is likely to, if it's likely to happen, how do you handle it? That is, you need to ask the downlines, okay, sometimes you're going to experience challenges in the business. What do you suggest that I do? Do you want me to call you often to ask you, to remind you why you started the business? Or do you want some space? Or do you want me not to call you at all? Most people say, no, if it's, I'm feeling if I don't attend meetings, if you don't hear from me, I would like to hear from you. So it's very important that you let your new distributor know that ups and downs in the business are likely to happen. The next thing you need to do is prepare the dream chart. This is very important because why do people join the business? Betty and I joined the business to earn an extra $200. That's all. But our first check was $3. But after 7 months, our income reached $1,000. So we increased our dream. We started having bigger dreams because we saw what the business could do. Our training leader at that time was a 3 Ruby director, and we saw him earn, I think at that time was 18,000 Rand a month. If you convert it to the current income, is about 60,000 Rand a month. And that really, That really fired me up. That really excited me. Okay. So it's important for your new distributor to have a dream chart. It's not just enough to say, I have a dream. No, you need to make it pictorial, because our subconscious mind works with things they see. Our mind always, remember, our brain is a goal-seeking mechanism. So you need to write, you need to have a dream chart, have physical representation of those dreams. If you want to buy a car, which type of car, what color, get a picture, put it on your dream chart. If you want to travel, where do you want to travel? Put it on your dream chart. If you want to earn a certain income per month, put it on the dream chart. Let it be an exact figure. Sometimes we underestimate what being specific is can change our lives. If you want to earn $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, $10,000, $5,000, write it down. Write the exact figure that you want. Once you've written the dream chart, the next thing is launch your business. What is launching your business? Launching your business is when the new distributor invites their prospect to see, for somebody more experienced to explain the business on their behalf. That is when you launch your business. It's the first meeting where they invite their prospects to look at their business, but you as a leader show the business on their behalf. You do that for them to learn. That is a really key thing about it. Okay? And during the presentation, they need to be there so that they watch and see how you're presenting the business idea. Okay? So launch your new distributor in the business. Let's say the first meeting, they invite 10 to 15 people. Not all of them are going to show up. 5, 6, or 7 are going to show up. But the idea is to help them show the business to new faces. But because you're experienced, they will feel a bit safer. I mean, the last 20 years, 26 years I've been in the business, I've had all the excuses that people have. All the negative things they say. They're all the same in every market you do business. Some people will say it's a pyramid scheme. Some people will say the products are expensive. Some will say this thing doesn't work. I saw so-and-so who joined and it did work. People have all sorts of excuses not to actually do the business. So you as a sponsor, you need to be there to help them deal with the, what is the word to use? Objections. Okay? So the first presentation. After that, Number 4 is you need to get your new downline to use the products. That is so. I remember many times when you started the business and people started the business, but they were reluctant to buy and use products. Your business will not grow. It's as simple as that. And it's a very simple reason, because the new distributor is showing proof that they actually don't believe in the products. So the first thing is you need to sit down with your new downline. Give them a list of products that you think they need to use. They don't have to buy immediately, but in the first month of the business, let me say they join the business at the beginning of the month. Each starter kit has got products for them to use. Those are not the products that is put in front of the TV to watch. No, these are products for them to use. Okay? And then as they use the other normal products at the end of the month, then they need to now replace those products with the Neolife products. So personal use. The other thing you need to teach them is how to retail products. How do you do that? You sit down with them, take a list, and from their name list, from the people who they have spoken to, the people who are not interested in the business, those are the ones who are likely to become customers. 2 things are important for getting customers. Number 1 is product knowledge. Number 2 is listening to people. In fact, when you listen to people, how they talk, 2 things always come in the conversation. 1, lack of money. 2, poor health. These things are always in people's conversations. And when they're there, it gives you an opportunity to suggest a product or business. If they're complaining about lack of money, they're simply telling you, I want a way to earn extra income. If they're complaining about their health, what are they telling you? That they need a certain range of products. So help your customers to build help the new downline or the new success line to build a customer base. The other thing you need to do is product sessions. People's confidence grows in the business when they can do a product session. Give them one product to do, 5 minutes, 6 minutes, 8 minutes, not longer than that, so that they can have a good idea on how to explain the products to new either customers or prospects. I have found that their own personal stories of the experience they've had in the products is much more effective to get them to get a customer, to get them for them to get customers in their business to buy their products. Vitality, the healthy heart, products for tiredness, products. So choose a specific product line that you need to train them on how to do a product session. The home care, I have found that using the LDC demonstration is very, very powerful. You take LDC, mix it in a mixing bottle, 1 to 5, use some cooking oil, they put in their hands, then you use LDC to wash their hands. It's a very powerful and effective way. I mean, 10 to 15 minutes of explanation will not suffice by a new customer seeing that LDC demonstration. Then the next thing is you need to link them up to the system. When is the next big event? The recognition rally in your area, or if you're having a recognition session by virtual means or by Zoom, you need to plug them into this because they need to know how the business is built. Plug them into the system. The ninth thing you need to teach them to do is to how to tell their personal stories. It takes 4 minutes. And in fact, it takes 3 to 4 minutes. The 4 key things: what they are doing before they started the business, how they came to join the business, what benefit they have received in the business, either product benefit or income benefit. And the fourth thing is, how does the future look like? It's very important to teach your people how to tell their stories, because stories is what actually sells our business, okay? And then the last item about getting new people started is you need to put them on the path to personal development. Give them, in fact, help them to get the books they need to grow in the business. Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, Go Pro by Eric Worre, How to Influence People and How to Win Friends and Influence People. These are the books they need to be reading on a regular basis. We suggest that every day you read the books for 15 minutes, because that gives you a vocabulary for becoming successful. Life is very negative. I mean, 70% of the information you see every day is negative. So you need to counteract that negative information by reading positive, success-oriented books. 2, they need to keep in touch with a successful group of people that will help them have a good attitude. So I think those are the basic things to help your new distributor getting started off in the business. A very important thing you need to think about: within the first, the second, or the third month, your new distributor should have earned what we call a faith check. What does that mean? It means that they need to be able to earn some money from the business within the first or the second month of this joining. That strengthens their belief in the business. Betty and I joined at the end of March in 1996. We got our first check in May, which was $3. And I was very excited about this check. In fact, I took a photo of this check and framed it because it showed us where we came from. And that check is what really strengthened my belief in the business. So your new distributor needs to have a faith check, a check that shows or proves to them that this business works, okay? The next thing I want to share with you is about creating a vision for your business or visualizing your business. Why is visualization very important? It's very important because everything that you have in your life came from the imagination or the thought of somebody. This laptop I'm using, the phone that you're probably using or the device you're using to attend this meeting, the clothes you're wearing, the house you are staying in, if you're in a car, everything that we have physically came from the thought or the imagination of somebody. They visualize what they wanted to build and they build it. You see, God finished with creating trees. God doesn't create trees anymore. He put the trees in the seeds. God doesn't create chicken anymore. He puts the chicken in the eggs. He puts crops in the grains, everything. The same with us. The success we want, God has already put them in our imagination. It's just for us to picture it clearly and put action. So I want to suggest the following things on how to visualize effectively. And you need to do this every day. You need to write down the dream that you want in personal present tense. That means you need to bring the future to the present. Okay? Number two, you need to be emotionally involved in the visualization. You need to be able to see it very clearly. Until when you visualize what you want, you can actually feel the emotion of, for example, next year, people who get to World Team are invited to come to Istanbul in Turkey. I would suggest maybe after this training, spend 5 minutes, 10 minutes, close your eyes, see yourself getting a passport, going to the airport, you've got your ticket, you and your spouse. If you're in Nairobi, if you're in Kampala, if you're in Dar es Salaam, if you're in Lagos, Nigeria, if you're in South Africa, you're going to the local international airport. You check in your luggage, you're wearing your suit, you've got a team of people with you. You can see the aeroplane, you go back, you sit in your chair, it's your seat number is A6 or an A7, you and your spouse. You can feel the leather that you're sitting on. The leather is cream white. You're served a meal. You relaxed. You are going to, you need to see this in your mind. You need to feel what you're going to feel when it happens. You need to see the details, the colors, the mood, the people around you. If you do this properly, you will actually sense something changing in you. And if you do this very often, it will become a reality. So you need to put emotion into it. You need to see as much detail as possible in your visualization. For example, if you want to earn $5,000, you actually need to close your eyes and see the check written in your name. Please pay Pascal Oloo $25,000. And you need to be able to see that figure on the check, and at the bottom of the check is written Neolife. If you do this very, very often, you will actually, in fact, something in your subconscious mind called reticular activating system, it does not know the difference between what is imagined and what is actually happening in reality. It doesn't know the difference. So the more you play this mental video in your mind, the more your subconscious mind begins to find ways to make this become a reality. You'll begin to notice people who are looking for a business. You'll begin to attract the right people to join your business to make this a reality. So visualization takes a number of things. Number one, you need to create a mental video exactly what you want. Number two, you need to have a talk or something you want to achieve in the future as if it has already happened. First person, present tense. Number three, you need to do it every single day. If you do that every single day, what you visualize will become a reality in your life. You see, with those simple ideas, I think if you visualize your business very well, if you visualize what you want to do, if you want to become a president's team member, if you want to become a world team member, visualize it first. If you see it in your mind, you can achieve it. So ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you so much for spending this evening with Betty and myself. I wish you a fantastic August. I know wherever you are, you've already set goals for the new month. 3 aspects: personal sponsoring, personal PV, your group volume. Set those steps, put them in practice. If you do that, you're going to actually achieve your goal at the end of the month. Paul, thank you so much for hosting our meeting. We really appreciate the work that you do for our team. And we wish everybody success for the month of August.
Thank you, Pascal and Betty. Good night, everyone, and bye-bye.
Good night.